Captain Alex Winters looked out at the vast darkness of space from the bridge of the USS Defiant. Stars twinkled in the distance as the ship moved smoothly through the Orion sector. It was supposed to be a normal patrol mission. Nothing exciting ever happened in this quiet corner of space. Alex had been captain for 5 years now, and these routine patrols were becoming too familiar. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange on long-range scanners," said Officer Jack Wilson, his eyes fixed on the glowing screen in front of him. Alex walked over to Jack's station. "What is it?" "I'm not sure, sir. It looks like—" "Wait, that can't be right." Jack's fingers moved quickly across the control panel. "Sir, I'm detecting multiple ships appearing out of nowhere. They're just materializing." The main screen flickered to life, showing what had caught Jack's attention. At first, there were just a few dots, then dozens, then even more. "How many ships are we looking at, Officer Wilson?" Alex asked, his voice steady despite the growing concern. "I count 20, 50. Sir, there are at least 100 vessels out there, and they're big, much bigger than the Defiant." The bridge fell, silent. The Defiant was accompanied by only 2 small escort frigates, the Liberty and the Independence, 3 human ships against 100 alien vessels. Lieutenant Samantha Reed spoke up from her communications station. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the lead ship." "Put it on screen," Alex ordered. The image changed to show a creature unlike anything they had seen before. It had blue-gray skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and what looked like breathing tubes on either side of its neck. "I am Admiral Zetkal of the Dravkor Imperium," the alien said, its voice deep and mechanical through the translator. "Your presence has been noted in our territory. You will surrender your vessels immediately or face destruction." Alex stepped forward. "Admiral Zetkal, I am Captain Alex Winters of the Earth ship Defiant. We were not aware this was your territory. Our star charts show this as neutral space. We are on a peaceful mission." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Your information is outdated. The Dravkor Imperium claims this sector and all who enter it. You have 1 Earth hour to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Resistance would be illogical. You are outnumbered 100 to 1. The screen went dark. Alex turned to his crew. "Options, people. I need options." Commander Daniel Harper, tactical officer and Alex's second-in-command, stood up from his station. "Sir, I've been studying their formation. These ships move together, in patterns, almost too perfect. It suggests they might operate with some kind of unified command structure." "Like a hive mind?" Alex asked. "Not exactly, but similar. They lack the randomness you'd expect from ships with individual commanders making decisions. It could be a weakness." Lieutenant Reed spoke next. "Sir, I've been analyzing their transmission. There are subtle harmonics in their language that our translators missed. I think they don't understand us, not really." "Explain," Alex said. The way Admiral Zetkal spoke about our surrender, there was no question in his mind that we would give up. It's as if the idea of fighting against such odds is completely foreign to them. They expect math to determine our decision. Alex nodded slowly. "So they measure everything in numbers. 100 versus 3 equals automatic victory." "Yes. Sir, they don't account for human determination, or creativity, or our habit of being extremely stubborn when threatened." Alex walked around the bridge thinking. The Defiant was the newest ship in Earth's fleet, equipped with technology that hadn't even been fully tested yet. The 2 escort frigates were older models but still reliable. Could 3 ships really stand against 100? "Captain," called Dr. Alan Rodriguez from the science station, "I'm picking up unusual energy readings from their ships. Their power distribution is unlike anything I've seen before. If we had more time to study it—" "How much time do you need, Doctor?" Alex asked. "More than an hour," Rodriguez admitted. Alex nodded and made up his mind. He pressed the intercom button on his chair. "Attention all crew. This is Captain Winters. As you may know, we are currently facing an alien fleet that has demanded our surrender. They outnumber us 100 to 1. He paused for a moment, then continued. Throughout human history, we have faced impossible odds. at Thermopylae, at Agincourt, at the Alamo. Sometimes we lost, sometimes we won, but we always fought with courage and honor. I do not intend to surrender this ship or her crew to an unknown enemy with unknown intentions." Alex looked around at his bridge crew. Every eye was on him. "We will use the hour they have given us to prepare. Engineering will reinforce our shields. Tactical will analyze their weaknesses. Communications will try to learn more about our adversary, and when the hour is up, we will show these Dravcor that humans don't just roll over because someone has more ships." In engineering, Chief Engineer Paul Martinez heard the captain's speech and immediately began redirecting power from non-essential systems. "Johnson, recalibrate the shield harmonics. Patel, I need more power to the forward arrays. Chen, work on the backup systems. If our main power goes, I want everything critical to switch over instantly." The engineering crew moved with purpose, making adjustments and preparations that weren't in any manual. On the bridge, Commander Harper was working with his tactical team to develop a strategy. "Their formation is too perfect," he told Alex. "No human fleet would arrange themselves with such rigid geometry. It makes them predictable." Lieutenant Reed had made progress too. "Captain, I've detected patterns in their communication network. They use quantum signals to coordinate their actions. It's efficient, but what?" Alex prompted. "But it might be vulnerable to interference. If we could disrupt their network." Lieutenant Commander Kate Peterson joined the conversation from the weapons station. "Sir, the new pulse disruptors might be able to generate the right kind of interference. They were designed to disable electronic systems, but with some modifications." As the hour drew to a close, the crew of the Defiant had transformed their ship. Systems had been modified, plans had been made, and a sense of determined calm had settled over everyone. Admiral Zetkal's face appeared on screen again. "Your time has expired. What is your decision, Captain Winters?" Alex stood tall. "Admiral, we decline your offer of surrender." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in what seemed like surprise. "That is illogical. You face 100 warships with merely 3. Your destruction is mathematically certain. Why do you resist?" Alex smiled slightly. "Because we're human, Admiral, and humans have never been very good at giving up." The alien seemed genuinely confused. "This changes nothing. You will be destroyed." "Perhaps," Alex said, "but I suggest you prepare yourself for a very long day." As the communication ended, Alex turned to his crew. "Battle stations. Let's show them what humans can do." The Defiant's lights dimmed as power was diverted to weapons and shields. Around them, the 100 alien ships began to move, forming an attack pattern that would have been beautiful if it wasn't meant to destroy them. But as the first shots were fired, it became clear that this would not be the quick, one-sided battle the Dravcor had expected. Against all odds, 3 human ships prepared to take on an alien armada. The battle for humanity's first contact had begun. The first wave of alien ships fired in perfect unison. Bright beams of energy streaked across space toward the 3 human vessels. Captain Alex Winters gripped his command chair as the Defiant shook violently. "Shields holding at 87%, reported Officer Jack Wilson. "The modifications are working, sir." Commander Daniel Harper was already directing countermeasures. "Evasive pattern Delta. Liberty and Independence follow our lead." The 3 human ships broke formation, moving in seemingly random patterns that made them harder to target. This simple tactic appeared to confuse the alien fleet, whose shots began to miss more frequently. "They're not adjusting their aim to compensate for our movements," Harper observed. "It's like they expected us to just sit there and take it." In the science lab, Dr. Alan Rodriguez was analyzing data from the alien ships as it came in. He noticed something strange about their energy signatures. "Captain," he called over the comm, "I'm detecting unusual quantum harmonics between their vessels. It's as if they're all connected somehow, sharing information and commands instantly." Alex considered this. "Like a network? Could that be why they move so perfectly together?" "Exactly, sir. But networks can be disrupted." Lieutenant Commander Kate Peterson had been listening from the weapons station. "Sir, if I recalibrate the pulse disruptors to match those quantum frequencies, we might be able to create interference." Do it, Alex ordered. How long? 20 minutes, sir. Alex looked at the view screen showing the alien armada surrounding them. Make it 15. In engineering, Chief Paul Martinez was performing his own kind of magic. As damage reports came in, he redirected power, bypassed damaged systems, and kept the Defiant running despite taking hits that should have crippled her. Sir, power coupling on Deck 5 is overheating, called one of his engineers. Paul grabbed a toolkit and headed for the access tube. Keep things together up here. I'll fix it myself. He crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnel, feeling the heat increase as he got closer to the damaged coupling. The ship shook again as it took another hit, and he banged his head against the ceiling of the tube. Come on, old girl, he muttered to the ship. Hold together for me. On the bridge, Lieutenant Samantha Reed was monitoring alien communications. Captain, they're confused. I'm picking up increased chatter between their ships. They can't understand why we're still fighting. Alex allowed himself a small smile. Good. Confusion leads to mistakes. The two escort frigates were drawing fire away from the Defiant, giving Peterson time to modify the pulse disruptors. Captain Eric Norman of the Liberty reported in. Shields at 60%, Captain Winters. We can keep this up for a while longer. Captain Linda Brown of the Independence was more direct. We're hitting them hard on their port flank, but they've got so many ships they barely notice. We need a game changer, Winters. Working on it, Alex promised. Just a few more minutes. Fuidito. Battle continued, with the human ships dancing around the much larger alien fleet. The Dravkor ships were powerful but predictable. They moved in patterns that made mathematical sense, but lacked the unpredictability that human commanders valued. On the alien flagship, Admiral Zetkal was growing frustrated. His four eyes blinked rapidly as he watched the small human vessels evade his carefully calculated attack patterns. How are they still functional, he demanded of his subordinates. Our calculations indicated they should have been destroyed by now. His second-in-command, Sub-Admiral Vortek, replied hesitantly. They do not fight according to any known tactical algorithms, Admiral. They appear to be improvising. Zetkal's breathing tubes flared with irritation. Improvising is inefficient. Numbers do not lie. 100 ships will defeat 3. It is only a matter of time. Back on the Defiant, Peterson had completed her modifications. Pulse disruptors ready, Captain, but I should warn you this is completely untested. I don't know exactly what will happen. That's what makes it fun, Commander, Alex said. Target, the center of their fleet, and fire when ready. Peterson took a deep breath and activated the weapon system. Instead of a beam or a projectile, the pulse disruptors sent out invisible waves of energy, specially tuned to interfere with the quantum network linking the alien ships. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then slowly, the perfect formations of the Dravkor fleet began to falter. Ships drifted out of position. Some fired at empty space. Others stopped firing altogether. It's working, Harper exclaimed. Their coordination is breaking down. Reed was monitoring alien communications. Sir, their comm traffic just exploded. They're all talking at once, asking for instructions. I think we've disrupted their command network. Alex leaned forward. Time to press our advantage. All ships target the vessels showing the most confusion. Commander Harper, identify ships that appear to be command nodes and prioritize them. The 3 human vessels surged forward, now on the offensive. They targeted specific alien ships, disabling engines and weapon systems rather than attempting to destroy the vastly larger vessels outright. On the alien flagship, chaos reigned. Admiral Zetkal was receiving hundreds of requests for orders, simultaneously as individual ship commanders, unused to acting on their own initiative, desperately sought guidance. Restore the network, he commanded his technical team. How can such primitive vessels disrupt our superior technology? We are trying, Admiral, a technician responded. But they are using frequencies we did not anticipate. Our systems were not designed to counter this type of interference. For the first time, doubt crept into Zetkal's mind. The humans were not fighting according to any tactical doctrine the Dravkor had encountered before. They were adapting, changing strategies, targeting weaknesses that shouldn't have been apparent to such a technologically inferior species. On the Liberty, Captain Norman saw an opportunity. Captain Winters, we've identified what appears to be a power distribution node on their lead vessels. Permission to make a run at it? Granted, but be careful, Alex replied. The Liberty swooped toward one of the larger alien ships, firing precisely at a glowing section near its midsection. The hit caused a cascade of power failures across the alien vessel, leaving it drifting and dark. 1 down, 99 to go, Norman reported. The battle had been raging for 3 hours now, and the human ships were taking damage. The Defiant's shields were down to 40%, and both escort frigates were reporting system failures. But the alien fleet was in disarray. Without their network to coordinate them, individual ships were making tactical errors, sometimes even firing on each other in the confusion. Dr. Rodriguez called up from the science lab. Captain, I've been studying their power systems. There seems to be a cycling pattern. Every 45 minutes, their main weapons draw power from their engines. There's a 5-second window where both systems are vulnerable. Can you predict when the next cycle will occur? Alex asked. Yes, sir. In about 3 minutes. Alex opened a channel to all 3 human ships. All vessels, prepare to target these coordinates on my mark. We'll have a 5-second window to hit their power distribution nodes. As they waited for the right moment, Alex watched the alien fleet on the view screen. What had started as a hopeless battle against overwhelming odds had turned into something else entirely. The humans were outgunned and outnumbered, but they were not outthought or outfought. Ready, sir? Harper said as the moment approached. Alex nodded. On my mark. 3, 2, 1, fire! All 3 human ships fired simultaneously at the designated targets. The effect was immediate and dramatic. 20 alien ships lost power at once, their lights flickering out as they drifted helplessly in space. On the bridge of the Defiant, a cheer went up, but the battle was far from over. 80 alien ships remained, and Admiral Zetkal was learning from his mistakes. The real test of human ingenuity was just beginning. 5 hours into the battle, the situation had changed dramatically. 20 alien ships drifted powerless in space. 5 more had been disabled by targeted strikes from the human vessels. But 75 Dravkor ships remained, and they were adapting. They're changing their tactics, Commander Harper reported from the tactical station, breaking into smaller groups operating more independently. Captain Alex Winters nodded grimly. The Defiant had taken heavy damage. Shields were down to 30%, and the Liberty and Independence weren't in much better shape. Admiral Zetkal is learning, Alex said. We need to stay one step ahead. Lieutenant Reed interrupted from communications. Captain, I'm detecting new signals from the alien fleet. They've established an alternative communication system. Not as efficient as their quantum network, but it's allowing them to coordinate. Again. In engineering, Chief Paul Martinez was covered in sweat and soot. A power conduit had exploded, injuring 2 of his team. He'd sealed the breach himself and was now trying to reroute power through secondary systems. We can't take much more of this, Captain, he reported. I'm keeping us together with spare parts and good luck at this point. Alex knew they needed something new. They had surprised the aliens once with the pulse disruptors, but that advantage was fading. Dr. Rodriguez, anything else in your analysis we can use? He asked. The science officer had been working non-stop, studying every bit of data they could gather about the alien ships. Maybe, sir. Their ships generate a massive energy field around their command centers. I think it's meant to protect their leadership, but it creates a weak point elsewhere. If we could get close enough to one of their command ships. How close? Alex asked. Too close, Rodriguez admitted. We'd have to drop our shields to fire at the exact right spot. One hit from them during that window would cripple us. Alex considered their options. It was a desperate move, but they were in a desperate situation. Captain Norman, Captain Brown, he called to the commanders of the escort frigates. We need a diversion. Something big enough to draw attention away from the Defiant for about 30 seconds. Captain Linda Brown of the Independence responded. First. We've got an idea, Winters. Our antimatter containment field is failing anyway. If we eject our core near their fleet. That's suicide, Alex protested. Not necessarily, Brown replied. We can set it to detonate remotely and evacuate in escape pods. The explosion won't destroy their ships, but the radiation burst will blind their sensors temporarily. It was risky, but it might work. Alex nodded reluctantly. Proceed, Captain. We'll pick up your crew. On the alien flagship, Admiral Zetkal was regaining his confidence. His fleet had adapted to the human disruption tactics. They were still outnumbering the Earth ships by 25-1. The humans fight with unusual determination, he told his officers. But determination cannot change mathematics. We will prevail through superior numbers. Sub-Admiral Vortek wasn't so sure. Admiral, these humans do not follow conventional battle logic. Perhaps we should attempt to communicate again, learn more about them before— No, Zetkal snapped. We cannot show weakness. The Imperium has never retreated from inferior forces. We will crush them and take their ships for study. Back on the Defiant, preparations were underway. The Independence was setting its antimatter core to overload, while the Liberty positioned itself to cover the escape pods. All non-essential personnel evacuated, Captain Brown reported. Core set to detonate in 2 minutes. Get ready for your shot, Winters. Alex turned to Lieutenant Commander Peterson at weapons. Target their command ship. The moment their sensors are affected, drop shields and fire everything we've got at the weak point Rodriguez identified. Peterson nodded, her fingers poised over the controls. Ready, sir? The crew of the Defiant watched as the Independence ejected its antimatter core. The small cylinder drifted toward the heart of the alien fleet. Detonation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brown counted down. A blinding flash lit up space. The antimatter explosion sent waves of radiation and energy in all directions. The alien sensors, more sensitive than human technology, were overwhelmed by the burst. Now, Alex ordered. The Defiant dropped its shields and surged forward, engines at maximum. Peterson fired a concentrated beam directly at the weak point on the alien command ship, where the energy field protecting the command center created a power drain on their defensive systems. The beam struck true. For a moment, nothing happened. Then cascading explosions rippled across the massive alien vessel. Direct hit, Peterson exclaimed. Their power core is destabilizing. Shields up, Alex ordered just as the alien ship started firing blindly, trying to hit targets they could no longer see clearly. The Defiant's shield snapped back on just in time to absorb several hits. The ship shook violently. Shields at 15%, Wilson reported. But their gamble had paid off. The alien command ship was crippled, its lights flickering and weapons offline. More importantly, the remaining Dravcore vessels seemed confused, their newly established communication system disrupted by the loss of the command ship. The Liberty has recovered all escape pods from the Independence, Reed reported. Everyone made it out. A cheer went up on the bridge. Captain Brown and her crew had survived their risky maneuver. The alien fleet's formation was breaking down again. Without clear leadership, individual ship commanders were making conflicting decisions. Some pressed the attack while others pulled back to defensive positions. They're fighting each other, Harper observed with amazement. Their commanders can't agree on a strategy. Alex saw their opportunity. Target any ship still actively attacking, ignore the ones pulling back. For the next hour, the Defiant and Liberty picked off the most aggressive alien vessels one by one. The human ships were damaged but still fighting effectively. The alien ships, despite their superior numbers, were increasingly disorganized. Finally, a new transmission came through. It wasn't Admiral Zetkal this time, but Sub-Admiral Vortek. Captain Winters, the alien said, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. We request a temporary cessation of hostilities. Alex raised an eyebrow. A ceasefire? Yes, Vortek confirmed. Admiral Zetkal has been relieved of command due to tactical failure. I wish to understand how your 3 ships have managed to defeat our superior numbers. We haven't defeated you yet, Alex pointed out. You still have over 60 ships to our 2. Vortek's breathing tubes expanded slightly in what might have been the alien equivalent of a sigh. Numbers that have proven meaningless against your tactics. We could continue this battle, but our projections now show uncertain outcomes despite our numerical advantage. This is unprecedented. It wasn't surrender, but it was close. Alex looked around at his exhausted crew. at the damage reports flooding in from all decks, at the readings showing their weapons nearly depleted. We accept. Your ceasefire, Sub-Admiral. I suggest we both withdraw to a safe distance and open proper diplomatic channels. Vortek agreed, and slowly the alien fleet began pulling back. The remaining human ships, battered but unbroken, maintained their position. Do you think they'll honor the ceasefire? Harper asked quietly. They're confused, Alex replied. Their entire tactical doctrine has been proven wrong today. They need time to process that, just as we need time to repair our ships. As the alien fleet retreated to a respectful distance, the crew of the Defiant allowed themselves to breathe a little easier. They had survived the initial onslaught. Against all odds, 3 human ships had fought 100 alien vessels to a standstill. But Alex knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge would be making the Drav Corps understand humanity, a species that refused to be defined by mere numbers or cold calculations. A species that, throughout its history, had overcome impossible odds through courage, creativity, and unyielding determination. The peace, he suspected, would prove even more difficult than the battle. The ceasefire had lasted 12 hours. During that time, the crew of the Defiant and the Liberty worked non-stop to repair their ships. The escape pods from the Independence had been distributed between the 2 remaining vessels, making them crowded but operational. Captain Alex Winters sat in his ready room reviewing damage reports. Chief Paul Martinez had performed miracles in engineering, bringing shields back up to 40%. Weapon systems were functional again, though not at full capacity. A knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. Enter, Alex called. Lieutenant. Samantha Reed stepped in, looking tired but determined. Captain, the aliens are requesting to speak with you again. Alex nodded and followed her to the bridge. The main screen activated to show Sub-Admiral Vortek. The alien looked different, somehow less certain, more cautious. Captain Winters, Vortek began, our analysts have been studying your tactics during our engagement. We find ourselves puzzled. How so, Sub-Admiral? Alex asked. Your ships were clearly outmatched. By all reasonable calculation, you should have surrendered immediately to preserve your crews. Instead, you chose to fight against impossible odds. This defies logical analysis. Alex smiled slightly. Humans have a long history of defying logical analysis, Sub-Admiral. We don't always make decisions based purely on numbers or probability. Vortek's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. This is why we wish to propose a meeting. A face-to-face discussion between our species. We have much to learn about each other. It was a risky proposition, but Alex saw the opportunity. If they could establish actual diplomatic relations with the Drav Corps, perhaps future conflicts could be avoided. I accept your proposal, Alex said, but I have conditions. The meeting will take place on neutral ground, a small space station in this sector that belongs to neither of us. We will each bring only 3 representatives. Vortek agreed, and arrangements were made. Alex selected Commander Harper and Dr. Rodriguez to accompany him. Their tactical and scientific expertise would be valuable in understanding the aliens better. The small trading station was owned by merchants from another system who had mysteriously vanished when the alien fleet arrived. Its conference room was large enough to accommodate both parties comfortably. Alex and his team arrived first, setting up scanning equipment to monitor for any signs of treachery. 20 minutes later, Vortek arrived with 2 other Drav Corps officials. Captain Winters, Vortek said with a formal bow. May I present Chief Scientist Nelpan and Fleet Coordinator Karzin. The aliens were taller than humans, with blue-gray skin and the distinctive 4 eyes. Up close, Alex could see that their breathing tubes pulsed gently with each breath. Welcome, Alex replied. This is Commander Harper, my tactical officer, and Dr. Rodriguez, our chief scientist. They sat at the circular table, each side watching the other carefully. I must admit, Vortek began, that Admiral Zetkal's approach was flawed. He assumed that numerical superiority would guarantee victory. Your resistance has forced us to reconsider many of our tactical doctrines. Alex nodded. In human history, there have been many battles where the smaller force prevailed through better strategy, determination, or simply by exploiting the right weakness. The alien scientist, Nelpan, leaned forward. This concept fascinates me, Our entire civilization is built on mathematical certainty. We expand our fleet continuously because more ships always meant victory. Until we met you. Dr. Rodriguez joined the conversation. Your quantum network was impressive, the way all your ships could act as one. But it also created a single point of failure. Nelpan's eyes widened. Yes, we never considered that vulnerability, because no species we encountered had the insight to exploit it. How did you detect it so quickly? Humans are good at spotting patterns, Rodriguez explained. And we've learned to look for weaknesses in systems, especially ones that seem perfect. The discussion continued for hours. The aliens were particularly interested in human history. The battles at Thermopylae, Agincourt, and other examples where smaller forces had defeated larger ones. Your species places unusual value on individual initiative, Fleet Coordinator Karzin observed. Our commanders are taught to follow central directives without deviation. When your disruption cut them off from command, many were paralyzed by indecision. Harper nodded. Human commanders are expected to adapt when situations change. We call it thinking on your feet. It can be messy sometimes, but it allows us to respond to unexpected developments. As they talked, Alex began to understand the Dravcor better. They weren't evil or cruel, just different. Their society valued order, predictability, and numerical advantage. Concepts like creative problem-solving or fighting against the odds were foreign to them. There is one thing I must know, Captain, Vortex said finally. When you realized you were outnumbered 100 to 1, what gave you the confidence to fight rather than surrender? Alex considered the question carefully. I wasn't confident we would win, Sub-Admiral, but I was certain we would fight with everything we had. Humans don't give up easily, especially when threatened. We may die, but we won't go quietly. Vortex seemed troubled by this. You would risk certain death rather than logical surrender? History is full of humans who did exactly that, Alex replied. And sometimes, what seemed like certain death turned out to be possible victory. The aliens exchanged looks that Alex couldn't interpret. Finally, Vortex spoke again. The Dravcor Imperium has never encountered a species like yours. You are fewer in number than many races we have assimilated. But I am now convinced that attempting to conquer humanity would be unwise, regardless of numerical advantage. It was as close to an admission of respect as they were likely to get. Alex nodded acknowledgement. We don't seek conflict with the Dravcor, he said, but we will always defend ourselves no matter the odds. This is understood, Vortex replied. I will recommend to the Imperial Council that we establish formal diplomatic relations with your Earth instead of military conquest. Your species has much to teach us about unpredictability. After the meeting concluded, Alex and his team returned to the Defiant. The mood on the ship had changed. Despite their damaged vessel and the loss of the Independence, there was a sense of accomplishment, even triumph. Do you think they'll honor the agreement? Harper asked as they entered the bridge. I think they're genuinely puzzled by us, Alex replied. And curious. That curiosity might just keep the peace long enough for real understanding to develop. As the Defiant prepared to return to Earth with news of first contact, Alex looked out at the alien fleet still holding position at a respectful distance. They had arrived ready to conquer, assuming their superior numbers guaranteed victory. They were leaving with a new understanding of humanity, a species that refused to be defined by mere mathematics. The battle had changed both sides. For the Dravcor, it was the first time they had encountered a force that couldn't be calculated or predicted. For humanity, it was confirmation of something they had always believed, that courage, creativity, and determination could overcome even the most impossible odds. And that was a lesson worth remembering as they ventured further into the stars. 1 month had passed since the battle with the Dravcor fleet. The Defiant and Liberty had returned to Earth as heroes, bringing news of first contact and the surprising outcome of what should have been a hopeless battle. Captain Alex Winters stood in the Grand Hall of the United Earth Government building in New Geneva. The room was filled with high-ranking officials, military officers, and diplomatic representatives from around the world. Today was the official signing of the Earth Dravcore Non-Aggression Treaty. "Nervous?" Commander Harper asked, adjusting his formal uniform beside Alex. "A little," Alex admitted. "Alex, I never expected to be at the center of humanity's first interstellar diplomatic agreement. The crew of the Defiant and the survivors of the Independence and Liberty were given places of honor at the ceremony. Chief Paul Martinez had finally gotten a full night's sleep after weeks of helping repair the damaged ships. Lieutenant Samantha Reed had been working closely with linguists to improve the translation systems for communication with the Dravcore. Dr. Rodriguez had shared his observations of alien technology with Earth's scientific community, leading to several breakthroughs already. The doors at the far end of the hall opened, and the Dravcore delegation entered. Sub-Admiral Vortek led the group, accompanied by scientists, diplomats, and military officers from the Imperium. The aliens moved with precise, measured steps, still maintaining their love of order even in this new context. The Earth President stepped forward to greet them. "Welcome to Earth, Sub-Admiral Vortek. We are honored by your presence." Vortek bowed in the human fashion, something he had clearly practiced. "The honor is ours, President Chen. The Dravcore Imperium looks forward to a new era of understanding between our peoples." As the formal speeches began, Alex's mind drifted back to the battle. So much had changed in such a short time. The Dravcore, who had arrived as would-be conquerors, were now potential allies. Their initial dismissal of humanity as inferior had transformed into genuine respect. After the treaty was signed, there was a reception where humans and aliens mingled cautiously. Alex found himself approached by Vortek, who was now serving as the official Dravcore ambassador to Earth. "Captain Winters," the alien greeted him. "I have news that might interest you." "What's that, Ambassador?" Alex asked. "Admiral Zetkal has been studying human history intensively since our encounter. He was so affected by your species' ability to overcome numerical disadvantages that he has reformed our entire military training program." Alex raised his eyebrows in surprise. "I thought he was relieved of command." "Temporarily," Vortek explained. "The Imperial Council recognized that his failure was not one of competence but of imagination. He now leads our newly created Tactical Innovation Division." Alex smiled at the irony. The Admiral, who had been so certain of victory through superior numbers, was now teaching Dravcore officers to think more like humans. "There's more," Vortek continued. "Zetkal has requested permission to name a new class of Dravcore vessels, after your ship. The first DSV Defiant will begin construction next year." "I'm honored," Alex said, genuinely touched by the gesture. "Please convey my regards to the Admiral." Later in the evening, Alex found himself standing with Lieutenant Reed and Dr. Rodriguez near a window overlooking the lights of New Geneva. "I still can't believe we survived," Reed said quietly. "When I saw those 100 ships appear, I thought we were finished." Rodriguez nodded. "By any rational calculation, we should have been, but humans have never been very good at accepting bad odds." A young cadet approached them, looking nervous but determined. "Excuse me, Captain Winters. I've been assigned to write a paper on the Dravcore encounter for the Academy. Could you tell me what was going through your mind when you decided to fight instead of surrender?" Alex considered the question carefully. "I was thinking about Earth, about protecting our home. But mostly, I was thinking about my crew. They trusted me to make the right decision even if it wasn't the logical one." "But weren't you afraid?" the cadet pressed. "Terrified," Alex admitted with a smile. "Fear doesn't mean you can't be brave. Sometimes being brave means acting despite your fear." The cadet thanked him and moved on, clearly impressed by meeting one of the new heroes of Earth. 6 months later, Alex stood on the bridge of a new ship. The USS Intrepid was larger than the Defiant, with improved weapons, stronger shields, and a crew that included both humans and, surprisingly, 3 Dravcore exchange officers. "Captain, we're ready to depart," Commander Harper reported from his station. Alex nodded. "Setting course for the Dravcore home system. This diplomatic mission should be considerably less exciting than our last encounter." Chief Martinez's voice came over the comm from engineering. "Engines at full capacity, Captain. She'll run smooth as silk." Lieutenant Reed turned from her communication station. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the Dravkor escort fleet. Admiral Zetkal sends his personal greetings. The main screen activated to show the now familiar four-eyed face of the Admiral, who had once threatened to destroy them. Captain Winters, Zetkal said formally. The Imperium welcomes you. I look forward to discussing tactical theory with you, in person. Thank you, Admiral, Alex replied. I look forward to it as well. After the communication ended, Alex looked around the bridge at his crew, both human and alien. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. A battle that should have ended in quick defeat had instead opened the door to new possibilities, new alliances, and new understanding between very different species. One of the Dravkor officers, Lieutenant Karen, approached Alex with a datapad. Captain, I have been studying human battle tactics as part of my exchange training. There is something I still do not understand. What's that, Lieutenant? Alex asked. Your history shows that humans often fight hardest when victory seems least likely. This seems counterintuitive. Alex smiled. That's one of the things that makes us human, Lieutenant. We don't always do what's logical or easy. Sometimes we do what's right, even when the odds are against us. Karen considered this carefully. Admiral Zetkal now says to all new officers, never tell humans the odds are against them. It only makes them try harder. Laughter spread across the bridge. The Dravkor were learning, slowly but surely, what it meant to deal with humanity. As the Intrepid set course for the stars, Alex thought about how much had changed because of one decision, the choice to stand and fight rather than surrender. That choice had revealed something important about humanity to the galaxy, something that would be remembered long after their names were forgotten. When faced with overwhelming odds, some species calculated their chances and surrendered. Humans calculated their chances, ignored the results, and fought anyway. And sometimes, against all logic and probability, they won. The story of the battle between 3 human ships and 100 alien vessels had spread throughout Earth and beyond. It was already entering legend, growing with each retelling. But the core truth remained the same. The humans were outnumbered 100 to 1, and it made no difference.